Finish or go over? Oh, John here, y'all. There go John. There go John. John just came in the room. Jesus. Jesus. No, make it fast and give us the new content. Girl, oh my God. Now I can't look at my Aunt Lisa the same. What is you talking about, Kay here? Oh, you got a real aunt in real life? I don't see how Lisa in the book would compare it to your Aunt Lisa. I don't know how, but okay. Okay, Kay here. Oh, poor Kay here. Okay. Okay. John, yeah. So, okay, we're just going to do a quick overview of the whole story. So, basically, there's a husband and wife named John and Lisa. So, I'm sorry, David and Lisa. The eyes for me. Because, Tora, I got to be. What rolling mean? What does rolling mean? Oh, if I do a recap, I gotcha. Oh, I'm slow. All right. So basically, the story starts with this great couple by the name it's a husband and wife couple. And the husband and wife, lives a pretty decent life. And the husband works in an engineering firm, very smart man, very smart, very intelligent. And then he has a beautiful, beautiful wife. Her, we didn't give her a name at the beginning, but since we're doing a recap, we'll give you the names. Her name is Lisa. And Lisa works at a financial firm, and she's been doing well for herself as well. They live in a big, beautiful house, big, beautiful neighborhood. David takes care of his wife. He takes care of all the bills. And Lisa goes to work looking fabulous, smelling fabulous. And she goes to work, walking to her own beat, in love with her husband, in love with her life. And all is good. So out of the blue, a young man was hired at her financial firm. This young man, his name is John. Okay. John was hired at the firm and he works in the mail room. Okay. Lisa always went on a 10-15 break on every day. She would go into the break room, get her some tea, and she'll sip on some tea in the break room, and then she'll leave the break room and go back to her desk. John hadn't even been at the office a good week, and she noticed that every time she would walk into the break room, John would be coming in as well. And so one day, out of the blue, John asked her, "Oh my God, the perfume you wearing, is it Philosophy?" And she's like, "Excuse me, it smells so good." She was like, "Exactly, it does. My husband purchased it for me, and he loves the smell. And yes, my husband makes sure I smell good." And then the next day, she goes into the break room to have her tea. In comes John. "Ooh, check you out. I love that skirt you have on. Is that Marc Jacobs?" And then she was like, "Of course it is. My husband makes sure that I look great. My husband helps me buy my clothes, and it's my husband, honey." "Oh, you always talking about your husband." I see. "That's right. I love my husband. My husband takes care of me, honey. I don't have to look for anything anywhere else. My husband makes sure I'm okay." All right, so she goes into the office again. So now this is like Friday when she first tells him that. And well, it was Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday. That's when she's like, "My husband, my husband, my husband." So on on Friday, she went back to the break room, and John was like, "Girl, that skirt you wearing, like, oh man, like you really fine as hell." And she was like, "I told you before, honey, my husband takes care of me. Will you back up off me?" And then out of the blue, John said, "Your husband take care of you? I bet he said he takes care of you. You look like you ain't been fucked in a while." And John took his hand and grabbed his penis, right? And when he grabbed his penis, he started like pulling on it like that. And it started growing in his pants. And when she looked and she saw that, she was like, "Oh my God," like, oh. And she took a deep breath. And she was so like astonished, and she was so taken aback. Yes, she walked out. She saw how thick it was in his pants, and she just turned around and walked to her desk, and she was frazzled. John said, "You ain't been fucked in a while. Look like you ain't been fucked in a while. I can give you this. I'll be all deep in that hole. Your husband ain't fucking you right." And she just walked out, and she was so shocked. She was just, oh my God. so when she gets to her desk, when she gets to her desk, security, she was shaking, she was frazzled. She just, her husband is all she knew. She met him in high school. They got married in college. Okay? Yes, Juana. And that's all she knew was her husband. But when she saw the girth, that growth in John's pants, all she could think about was, oh my God, my husband's penis ain't even that big. She kept thinking about it. And she went to her desk and all she could think about was John. She just kept thinking about John. She's like, oh my God. She was just so nervous. She was shook to see that big ass thing in his pants. And John walked out the break room like, yeah, I got her. And he walked on to the mirror room. So now, oh yes, yummy. Yes. So she goes home over the weekend. She's thinking about, oh my God, like, And out of all the years that she'd been with her husband, she never thought that her husband had a little wanker, that his penis was little. It never crossed her mind until she saw John jack his big yick in his pants and it blew up like a blimp. It just blew up. So now Miss Unbothered, she home with her husband. They gonna make a little love. He lay on top of her. She never knew that it was little. It was good all these years. He got on top of her, baby. Yeah, baby. He gets on top of his wife. And yeah, baby. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, in that little wanker. She laying like, oh my God. Oh. And she just couldn't stop thinking. It blew her mind. It blew up. Yes, it do it, Luscious. It blew up. And he up there pumping. He up there just breathing. His whole little husband just pushing it. Trying to stay in there. Then he came. And then he rolled over. And when she rolled over, every time he rolled over, she always found herself like, I can take more, but she would usually go to sleep. But this time, when she rolled over, she was like, he's not even fucking romantic, And security told her she already cheated. And he never touched her hair and did that. She just would always get up there with that pumping and huffing and puffing and butter. So when he stuck that little wanker in her and rolled over and fell asleep, and she's like, baby, and before you know it, he sleep. And she just lay on over there and just looked. But this time she was thinking about John. All she could think about when his hand his hand grabbed that thing like this and shook it. He was like, your husband ain't fucking in a while. And that's all she kept thinking about. So Sunday evening, she's getting ready for work. And she's like, you know what? John likes to see me in this skirt. Aroused. I'm going to wear this skirt. And he loves the Philosophy perfume I put on. So she made sure on Monday morning, she took out her perfume and made sure she squirted a nice amount when she got out the car. And she made sure that little tight-fitted skirt that John likes, that she had on that on Monday. And she got out her car looking good and smelling good with her shades on. And she walked in the office. See that, Miss ATL? You see what TT just texted us? You see, Miss ATL? You see what I'm talking about? Look what TT just said. Is ATL in here? Is ATL in here? This is what I be talking about. She can't hear me. She ain't here. This is what we be talking about right here. Anyway. So, you see what TT just text? Look, that's what I be talking about right there. Somebody can't. You see what she just text? Okay, well, I'm Miss ATL. Look at that. So let me tell you. So, so when she walks in the office, she sits down in her chair, and then usually when John. When John walks out of the mailroom, he walks through, sometimes he's whistling. Because, John ain't even been there but a week, but she's already got used to him now. This new dude walking. And let me tell y'all how John looked. John, 6'1", baby. Chocolate and beautiful. A goatee, beautiful hair. tall and fine as wine. Oh, baby. We already know John got a big one. But guess what? John ain't got no car. John ain't got his own place. And John be from job to job. But John tall. He's 6'1", baby. Fine as hell. With 9 inches. I mean. So she's sitting at her desk, right? And this time she hear John coming with the mail cart. He whistling down the hallway with his little mail cart. He coming through the hallway. And John comes and he put his little mail cart by the break room. But this time, he goes into the break room. And instead of her already being there, when she saw John, she got up and she went in. Well, we'll see, Miss Unbothered. And this is a recap. So this is some of y'all that ain't heard the story yet. So a lot of us in here already heard the story. I'm just recapping for a lot of the new ladies that's in here right now. No, Mother Mariah, I don't want to shut up. Don't tell me bye, Mother Mariah. Be nice. Get out. Okay, Mother, you gotta go. You gotta grow up. I'm 46. That ain't too old. I'm amazing. 46 ain't too old, girl. Bam. Now listen. So, what's pushing 3? Imp, you pushing 3. What 3 mean? Imp, you pushing 3. I don't know what that means. Anyway, so no, I ain't 20 something. I'm 46. So now we're in the so John go in the break room. They distracted me. This time Lisa gets up. Now remember, all last week John was following her in the break room at 10:15. Now she jumping up, waiting on John to come in. So when John walk in, she get up, make sure she's smelling good. She brushes her hair like this in the mirror. She stands up, fixes her little skirt, and she walks on in the break room like she don't know he there. And she goes and get her tea, and she go, "Hey, John." And John's like, "Hey, what's up? What's up, Lisa?" And this time she walking, she making her little tea. She bending all over, putting a little tea bag. Hey, John, what's up? Oh, ain't nothing up. See, John already knew he had her. When he grabbed his big penis in his pants, he already knew he had her. So that's why he kind of like playing it cool right now. But she just dancing around and this and that. "What's up, John?" "Ain't nothing, Lisa. Ain't nothing, nothing." And John, "You good?" "Yeah, I'm good." So John gets out. "Excuse me." He walks past her and she kind of like, slide over a little bit so he can bump her. John's like, "Yeah, I got her." He's like, "Excuse me, let me finish my mail run." So John go on and finish his mail run. He going on through the thing, right? So it's already Monday, right? It was Monday. No. So this is the beginning of the week. All right. So now, this takes place on and on all week. She got on her tight skirt for John. She got on her perfume. She going in the break room with John. And John like, "Okay, Lisa, I see you." But he ain't really giving her the attention he was giving her last week. Because John, John know how to do this. This ain't his first rodeo, baby. So now it's the weekend. And they're in the break room together talking like, "Yeah, what's up, Lisa? What's going on?" "Nothing." "What you doing for the weekend?" "I'm just going to spend time with my husband and this and that." He was like, "Oh, that husband of yours, huh?" She was like, "Yeah, that's my husband, whatever, yeah." John was like, "Okay." John like, "All right, so I'll see you on Monday, And John reached down and he put his hands on his britches like, "I'll see you on Monday then, Lisa." And when he put his hands in the front of his britches, of course, that thing started growing. And he just looked at her and he walked off. And she just saw, oh my God. Oh, she was just shaking. But anyway, John went on in the mirror room. And by the time it was time for them to go at 5 o'clock, John slips out the side of the building and leaves. And she didn't see him for the rest of the weekend. So now it's Monday. So it's Monday morning. They're in the break room. And when she walks in, John on the phone. Right. "Oh, good morning, Lisa." "What you mean, man, you ain't gonna be able to pick me up today?" "How you ain't gonna pick me up? Catch a Uber?" "I'm not catching no Uber." "Man, whatever, man. I ain't catching no Uber." Whatever, man. Bye, man. So he hangs up the phone. Oh, wait, let's back it up. All right, let's back it up a little bit. Sunday night. So Lisa's home with her husband on Sunday. You know, of course, they had went out on movie date for the weekend, and David treated his wife, you know, to everything. They went shopping and this and that. And while she's out with her husband shopping, of course, she picks up another tight skirt for John. And, you know, she was with her husband, but she was thinking more like, damn, I'm gonna wear this little tight skirt for John, you know, when I see him. And they're having a good time. So that night they get home, they're lying in the bed, and the husband like, you okay, wife? And she over there smiling like, I'm good. And so he touches on her, and then he turns off the light. He turns her over, and she's in the dark like, you know, him again. So the husband get back up there again. He climbs on top of his wife. Yeah, baby, I miss you. How you doing? I'm doing great. No, this is a recap from day one. This is nothing new to the story. We recapping. Thank you, Big TT. And so now the husband gets on top of her and he, oh, babe, I miss you. Oh, yeah. Oh, Lisa. Yeah. And she just there, Lisa, yeah, Lisa, oh, Lisa. I told you, Fed. And then short stroke of Tia, awful, right? What'd you say, Lana? And then, yes, Luscious, he finished. She just looking. Then he roll over. Yeah, baby. And she just rolls back over on her side of the bed, and she's just there until she falls asleep. David get on. So now it's Monday morning. She's at work, smelling good and looking good because she's Lisa. And of course, she hears the little whistle. How about John walking down the hallway whistling yin yang in this thing? He whistling. So he gone on in the break room. And so she hear John. So she get a little brush in the mirror on her desk, and she doing all this here because, you know, John in the break room. So, you know, once she came in there, she walked in, and she walks in, she see John. His back is turned to the door. And she says, good morning, John. And he looks, oh, good morning, Lisa. 1 second. Yeah. So what you mean? I got to catch your Uber. You ain't coming to pick me up? So I just ain't going to have no ride. You ain't going to come pick me up? All right, man. Whatever, man. Whatever, man. Bye. So John hangs up the phone. So Lisa looks, what's wrong? Man, this woman talking about she ain't picking me up today from work. Talking about catch your Uber. She's like, you don't have to catch no Uber. I'll take you home. He was like, you would? She was like, yeah. So they working all day, you know, and then 5 o'clock comes, you know, and John comes out the break room. Hey, you ready? Like, yeah, let's go. So they go walk to her car. Nice ride. Her husband got her driving fat, nice Jaguar, looking good. Lisa is the baby. Her husband takes care of her lifestyle. Okay. And it's been good for years. So they get in the car. So, you know, John already playing with her radio. What you listening to, girl? Oh, you know, I'm listening to like some Her. You know, sometimes listen to Mary J. No, man, put on the rap station. So John got her car booming, like John chilling, nothing, you know, boom, boom, boom. You know, he got all that on her radio. And so she just riding down the road like, okay. So once they get to the light, right? So they light, and she started slowing down. John reached over with his big old hand and grabbed Lisa on the thigh. I mean, put his hand right on that lady's thigh like this. And she said, oh my God, John. And she stopped on brakes, you know. He's like, man, what's up? Like, oh my God, John, like, you know, just calm down. He's like, what you mean calm down, man? You know, I'm just touching, you know, you're looking all good and scary. Like, I know, but John, relax. So I'm like, man, relax, man. So he started taking his hand and rubbing on her thigh and gripping it real tight. What you mean relax? Like, John, you know, just calm down. You know, it's okay. What you mean? You know what I'm saying? What you mean? You know you want me, you know? And so out of the blue, he took her mouth like this. He took her face and pulled it up to his and stuck his tongue in her throat and just started kissing her so hard. He making her hot already, Miss Unbothered. And just started tonguing this lady and kissing her. And she couldn't even catch her breath. And she breathed. And he just kept kissing her. And then he took his hand and went up under her skirt, honey. Took his whole hand, went up on that lady's skirt, pulled her underwear to the side, and was rubbing all over her, everything. All over everything that was down there. He was rubbing on it, trying to move his fingers and holes and all in. She was moving her body in the seat, and it was crazy. And his hands are so big, and his tongue is so long, and she was breathing. And before you know it, a horn blew in the back of the car. Boom! And she shook and he shook, and before you know it, the light was green and she was breathing. He was like, man, drive off, man. And she was like, okay. And she was breathing and she put her foot on the gas and they started driving off. And then John put his hand back on her thigh. And he was like, yeah, and took it and then put his hand all back up under her skirt, put his fingers all in her holes and stuff. All the holes she got down there, John had his fingers all in them, just in her stuff. John had his fingers in that lady holes, man. And yes, Miss Unbothered. So as they drove up, they got to his house. Like, you live here? Yeah. This is my mother's house. She was like, oh, okay. So she pulled up, you know, and John like, what's up? And John was looking at her and she's like, huh? Like, what? He's like, man, you know you want a nigga. What's up? She's like, John, you know, I'm going to see you tomorrow. I'm going to see you at work tomorrow. And we'll talk tomorrow at work, okay? He's like, at work? Like, I mean, you here now. What's up? So John was like, what's up, Lisa? And John took Lisa, started kissing her so hard and grabbing her neck and rubbing her face and all this, and then took his hand and reached down that lady's shirt, had her nipples all between his fingers and the other hand up under her skirt. So his mouth on her mouth, this hand on this nipple, and the other hand all up in that lady's skirt, got her panties pulled to the side, just all in it deep. And Lisa just like, oh my God, Lisa ain't never been touched like this in her life. And she's panting, and she's breathing, and she's this and that. And then John just stops and looks at her. He said, get out. She's like, huh? He says, get out and get in the back seat. And she says, what? Shoulder trying to lie me. He says, get out and get in the back seat. She said, okay. And she got up and she walked to the back seat and she got in the back seat and he said, lay down. And when Lisa laid down, John took her skirt, pulled it off her legs, took her underwear, pulled them off, bent Lisa's knees up and opened her thighs and put his mouth between that lady's legs and went to town, baby. John had his whole head down there between Lisa's thighs, eating her up. Oh, where John now? John in the comments, Kira. He down there in the comments. Ate her for old and new. I mean, sucked the life out of Lisa. Lisa ain't know what to do. Lisa had her thighs wrapped around John's head, had her hands wrapped around it. Lisa was pulling and scratching and all of her car legs was out the window on the ceiling. So it was a mess. Honey, Miss Unbothered, it's just bad. It's bad for everybody involved. After he ate that girl up, he got up from down between her legs. He climbed up to Lisa in her face, and he looked at Lisa. He said, you want me to stop? And Lisa looked at John. He said, answer me. You want me to stop? And she looked right at John's face and she said, no. And John took his mouth and put it all over hers with his tongue and everything, and then took his penis and rammed it right inside of Lisa. Right in. And he covered her mouth with his. She's like, and he kept her mouth covered with his and just kept kissing her so hard and this and that. And he was rubbing her thighs and squeezing her butt, and he was pulling her body to his, and Lisa couldn't even get out that lock. This man had his whole 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 inside of Lisa in the back seat of her car that her husband pays for. Got that lady bent and butt booty naked in the back seat of the car. When I tell you he was so deep in Lisa, He was touching areas she didn't even know she had up inside her behind. I mean, he hit this wall, that wall. He was knee deep in it. He was, dang. Lisa. Don't change her name, Lisa. And he just gave her. He gave her everything he had. No, I'm not Lisa Bria. This is a story time I've been telling, but I'm recapping the story because we got to get an end into the story. So the story is about the end. No, this ain't O'Neal. Look at Greg on who O'Neal. No, this story is about Lisa and the guy she met at work and her husband. It's a lot. This is a big story, but it's made up. And so we were about to do an end. So instead of me doing the end, I'm going to recap from 2 weeks ago. We're going to recap the story real quick, roughly. So Lisa's from the story. This is a made up story, Grateful. This is a made up story. Okay, so he had Lisa. Yeah, this one made up. He had Lisa in the back seat of that car. But you know, some of the stuff like O'Neal kissed me hard like that too. Ooh, baby, but you know. The new fact theory. Yeah, y'all need to get y'all nuts. Anyway, so again, in the back seat, her legs cocked up, and he rammed all 9 inches in that lady and that man's wife, inside that man's wife. And she was moaning and yawning and screaming, but he kept his mouth on hers, his tongue deep down her throat. He was squeezing her butt, squeezing her thighs. He was sucking her nipples, sucking up on her neck, kissing all over her lips, sucking all over her lip, just rubbing her whole body. He was freaking her out. Police ain't never had her body touched like this. He was inside that body, outside that body. He was all over her. She was shivering, screaming, weaning. It was a mess. He ripped her, not 9 inches. Let's go. So she was just breathing. And he just kept kissing her hard. And every time she tried to yell from him ramming, he just kept ramming. And she would scream, and he would cover her mouth. And he would ram it again. And she would scream again, and he would cover her mouth. And he just kept her body wanting more. He kept her yearning for more. He just kept that whole body entertained. Her butt, her thighs, her back, her nipples, her stomach, her neck, her lips. He kept that whole body tingling. John know how to lay it down. And after he was done with Lisa, she was out. Lord, yes. After he was done with Lisa, baby, Lisa was just laying in that back seat like mush. Legs still shaking like this. Her legs was trembling. She never had nothing like that. Her legs were trembling. And John got up looking at her with a smirk on his face. He was like, you all right? She was like, yeah, I'm all right. It's all right then. I knew he didn't want me to stop. That's what John said to Lisa. And she just looked at him. And she started gathering her things because she was kind of embarrassed because her body was exposed to a man that she just met at work. The mailroom clerk. Remember, Lisa's husband is a big engineer. He pays for her house, her car, her insurance. He pays for all this fancy jewelry, expensive this, expensive. He pays for her life. And she got a mail clerk that she just met all inside of her body. In the back seat of her Jaguar that her husband pays for. In the front of his house where his mom lives. So Lisa gets up. She's kind of embarrassed. She's still trembling, and she can still feel John inside of her. It's like her walls were throbbing. She can still feel him in her. And she got up, and she was breathing, and she looked at herself, and her nipples were still hard, and she was kind of bruised a little bit. And she put on her clothes. You know the feeling, Hershey? Okay. And John was like, okay, I'll see you tomorrow at work. So John got out the car after he gathered his things. And yes, Tia. John got out the car and gathered his things. And He walked in the house, and she got dressed as much as she could, and on her way home, she saw the neighborhood like little gas station, the corner store. And remember, this Lisa got a good life, big house, rich husband. She works in a financial firm. This is a lady. Lisa parked her car at the gas station, got out, went inside the gas station, asked the attendant, "Do you have a restroom, sir?" And he says, "Yes." Gave her the keys. "Where's the restroom? In the back?" "No, you got to go outside to the side of the building." She found herself a classy, beautiful lady with a gas station key in her hand, going outside to the bathroom in the back and cleaning her body off in a sink, because she had just had sex in the backseat of her car with a man that's not her husband. She had to wipe her body off in a sink. She had to use brown napkins and soap from the soap dish wall to clean her body. As he washed her body, she used the napkins to wipe over her body. She felt the tenderness from her nipples, because John had sucked her nipples so much. He sucked them and pinched them and squeezed them, and he bit them, and they were tender. And then she just kept wiping her body. And as she started wiping her vagina area, it was tender. She jumped a little bit because John had been all inside of her walls. Well, how many inches, ladies? How many inches does John have? Ladies in the comments, how many inches? How many inches does John have? Period. That Janet, 9. John had been all inside that lady's walls. So when she wiping herself, she stinged a little bit. And she looked at herself in the mirror, and she wiped her face and wiped her lips. John had kissed her all over her mouth, put his tongue all down her throat. He sucked every inch of her neck. She went in her purse and got a comb, and she fixed herself up just enough so she can get home to her husband and take her a shower. After she was done at the gas station, she had a quiet ride home, and she had to just contain herself until she got home. Once she pulled up in the garage, her husband heard the car. And when she opened, like, "Babe, I was looking for you. What took you so long? You're like an hour late." She was like, "Babe, we had a tough day at the office, tough long day at the office. I'm sorry. I should have called you. Unexpected meeting or whatever. Give me a kiss." She's like, "No, I'm tired. I don't want a kiss. I'm sorry. Eat dinner alone. I'm going to go up and get myself ready for bed." She raced up the stairs really quickly. She went straight to the bathroom, turned on the shower, and just let all the water run over her body. And while the water was running over her body, she was crying in the shower. She was crying because never in a million years she would ever think or fathom another man inside of her body other than her husband. And she cried as she let the water run all over her body. And then she took soap and she cleansed herself. Her nipples are still tender. Her vagina is still stinging a little bit. Her lips are sore. Her tongue is tired because John sucked the heck out of her tongue. She's just tired. So while she was showering, her husband comes and knocks on the door. "Honey, are you okay in there?" Period, Hershey Chalk. I did this before. Period. Look at the Hershey Chalk. "Honey, are you okay?" She's, "Yes, honey, I'm fine. I'm just tired. I'm just stressed out. I'm now divorced." Period, Hershey Chalk. Hershey Chalk said, "I did this before." And he walks away from the door. She said, I'm okay, honey. I'm okay." And she got to get herself together, rinse off, and she put on pajamas. And she went and laid down. And when she laid down, her husband reached over to her to hug her And she's like, baby, not tonight. I'm a little tired. He was like, well, baby, come here. And he pulled her over. She was like, honey, I'm tired. Not tonight. Hey, straight Big Red. Strong Big Red. And he's like, well, baby. And he tried to kiss her. And she said, baby, not tonight. And she rolled over. And he was like, okay. And he went to sleep, and so did she. So now it's the next day at work. Hey, Kente. So now it's the next day at work, y'all. So that was the sex scene. How did y'all like the sex scene? So now, hey, love. Hey, baby. So now, yes, very detailed. Period. Lisa, she's so sore. She's so sore. But let's keep getting down to the details. So now it's the next day at work. Hold on. So, you know, yes, this is a movie. So now it's the next day at work, y'all. So now she's sitting at her desk and she's like so ashamed. And she's trying her best to not, you know, give John any eye contact. If he comes out the office, she said to herself, if he come out the mail room, I'm not going to look at him. If he goes to the break room, I'm not looking that way. And so John, you know, he was in the mail room all day. And finally he came out, you know, and she heard him whistling. And she just stayed at work. And as he walked past her desk, she didn't even look in his face. She stayed at work, and she just kept avoiding him. And when he was going down to deliver mail, she would go in the break room and do her break. And when he was on her way to the break room, she would go back to her desk and she would not give him any eye contact. She would just not give John eye. She was very ashamed, very embarrassed. And she didn't want to pursue this any longer. She's never cheated on her husband. Okay? And this continues, you know, right up until Friday. Every day. Tuesday, the same thing. John comes, hey, Lisa, good morning, John. How you doing? I'm great, thank you. Lisa, what's up? Nothing, John. Every day. So finally, Friday hits. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, today is Friday. She's at her work working. She's at her desk. Out of the blue, a shoulder, on her shoulder, a strong hand. It was that same grip that he did her thigh. He touched her shoulder, and then he took her arm and rubbed it down like this. And she looked, she knew it was John. He did just like this. And he looked at her. He said, at 12 o'clock. I need you to meet me in the mail room. As she looked up at him, he said, do you hear me? And she looked, and he took it, and he touched her arm again and squeezed it. He said, do you hear me? And she said, yes. So it was only 5 minutes to 12. He finished up his rounds. He walked back past her desk and looked at her with just intensity. And she looks up at him, and he goes into the mail room. 3 minutes later, he got a buzz at the mailroom door. Of course, it's Lisa. When he let the buzzer open and let her in, when she opened the door, there was John standing, butt naked, no clothes on, holding his 9 inches in his hand. And it was hard as a rock. When she walked in, she looked at him. He looked down at her. She looked. She was startled, butt naked, hard and long and ready to go. And he took her. He grabbed her by the shirt and pulled her close. And she was looking. She was like, John. He was like, what's up? He flipped her around, bend her over, pull her skirt up over her head, took her panties and ripped them out. and shoved his big one right in her. Right inside. Right inside of Lisa. She's bent over, holding her ankles. Her skirt pulled over her head. Her underwear ripped right off. I'm sorry, John. And slipped it right inside of Lisa. And she said, oh. He says, be quiet. And he just is inside this lady. Oh my God. He inside exploring all of her cavity walls. He's hitting it to the left. He hitting it to the right. He hitting it from the front. I mean, he was ripping her. And hey, I was looking at your website. What's the best products for dark masks, for dark marks? Not just for face, though. All right. So the face kit, though. Oh, the whole body? The whole body. So you're going to have to get... So I got to teach you something. So you definitely need the face wash and the face scrub. That face scrub don't play on the body. And then you need a body wash, a body polish, and a body scrub. And then I'll teach you how to use them, how they'll work for your body, all your dark spots and everything, even your elbows and stuff. So I had issues with my elbow. So my elbow was all dark. So my elbow was as black as my hair, as dark as this weave. Now look, it's almost done. I got some brown there and I got some dark right here. And this has come from the face scrub. I put the face scrub on my black elbow and now it's almost all brown. It done came a long way. But this one's still darker than the other one, but she's almost done. And this came from the face scrub. So this one's a little darker, but it's all coming. Oh, you need the eczema kit. Oh, you need the eczema kit. Kim Possible, you need the eczema kit. You need the eczema kit. You got the eczema kit with you right now, Kia? So with the eczema kit, you use the polish first. Okay, so the polish is a mild sugar scrub with a lot of essential oils in it. So you're going to use the polish first because the polish is soap. It's a foaming essential soap. It's amazing. Use it with a white towel. Use it with a loofah. Use it. After you rinse off, then you're going to get the scrub. You're going to get the Scrubology, and you're going to scrub yourself with a white towel only, because I want you to see all the dead skin that comes on the white towel. Take a picture of your white towel. Use the white towel, scrub your whole body, your back, your legs, your stomach, your neck, your face, scrub. All that. You have almond oil in the scrub. Almond oil is good for psoriasis, dry skin, rash, okay? So first is the polish, that's the soap. Second is that Scrubology. After you rinse off, use the Angel's Delight lotion and lotion your whole body, and put a little bit of the almond oil that came in your box. Drip that, just one drop on all your little trouble areas and rub it in. And you're going to your body going to heal. You're going to see a change day night one, but by day three, a lot of that psoriasis and eczema stuff going to start going away. And then your marks are slowly going to start going away over the days and weeks. It works instantly. Got it? That's the eczema kit, baby. That's the eczema kit, baby. But Kia already got it. I've been obsessed with the almond oil. The almond oil is serious, baby. But she already got the, Kia already has the eczema kit. Kia, do you understand? Who is this trying to line me? 20S. Who is 20S trying to line me? Do they not know online people? Y'all ain't give me no 3v3. We don't line people here. We love y'all. The eczema kit will change your life. The eczema kit will change your life. The eczema kit. Okay? Okay. Are we good now, Kia? Okay, baby. Now listen, Kim, if you order tonight, of course, it'll probably be sent out tomorrow. You're welcome, Kia. Anybody that ordered anything, if you have a question about what you're using, come in the room and I'll let you know, or inbox me on the 321 number, the number that you can find on the website, and I'll make sure you guys got detailed information. Yo, these nuts is hitting. Okay, now listen. So, remember, Lisa's in the mail room. When she walks in the mail room, John is butt booty naked, standing in front of the door. Miss Leo, go on essentialbalm.com. ESS, there you go, ENTIALBOMB.com. Essentialbalm.com, okay? Okay, good. Okay, now. Okay, so when Lisa walks in the mail room, John is standing there butt naked with his penis in his hand. He pulls Lisa close. She looks in his eyes. And she's like, John. He's like, yo, what's up? He flips her over, bends her over, pulls her skirts over his head, rips that lady underwear off and shoved it right inside of her and went to work. And Lisa just couldn't believe what was happening to her. She's just down there, and he's having his way with her. He's just having his way with her whole body. Then he pulls her up, turns her around, and he picks her up now. Now he picks Lisa up, and he's walking around, bouncing this man's wife all around the mail room. I mean, just bouncing Lisa, woo, just bouncing Lisa all around the mail room, bouncing. Yes, John. Then he takes her, and then he wipes everything off his desk and lay her over his desk and took her shirt open and just ate Lisa up from the neck, the lips, oh, poor Lisa, Jesus. Lisa going to get caught up for sure. Oh my God. He had his way with Lisa. He had his way. And the same way he had her breast tendered on that Monday and had her body just, he could have her throbbing. He grabbed her thighs again and rubbed her legs, and he pulled them up higher, and she just went to screaming. And every time she screamed, he put his mouth over top of hers, Cupcake. Stop talking about you, Cupcake. I'm sorry. But he put his mouth on top of hers and kept kissing her so he can muffle the noise, and he just kept ramming it in and out of Lisa. He just kept going in and out that lady's body, deeper and deeper, and she just kept, oh my God, nipples in this mouth, nipples in this hand, his fingers all in, his thighs, her hands, her booty, oh my God, John was all over that lady. John was all over this poor child. I mean, Lisa had tears coming out of her eyes. Hey, quiet peace. Lisa had tears coming out of her eyes, honey. John rocked her boat. He tore her up. And when it was all done, John got up and he looked at her. He said, get up. And she looked, he said, get up, research. He said, now go to the bathroom and clean yourself up. And she went to the bathroom to clean herself up. And she got in there at lunchtime. When John was done with her baby, it was almost 2 o'clock. It was almost 2 p.m. John had done worked that lady from 12 to 2. You talking about a long lunch break. John worked that lady from 12 to 2. Yes, Jesus. Lisa went in the bathroom. She got some napkins and toilet paper, whatever she had, with soap, the soap on the wall, and started wiping her. Her neck was so sore from him biting and sucking it. Her nipples were so tender because he had been sucking and biting them and squeezing and pinching them, and she was just so tender. Her vagina area, it was looking swole. Honestly, she looked down. Sounds like Empress lunch break. My lunch break be long, but not with John. By myself. And just said, he told her to get up just like that, brother. He's like, now get up and go clean yourself up. Go clean yourself up. Get up, get up. And her vagina was so tender, and every time she wiped, and she would feel the sting, and she would jump a little bit, and her insides were still throbbing. Every time they had sex, it's like she could still feel John inside of her. She was throbbing like this. She could still feel, it's like he was still there. He's aggressive, Lisa. John is aggressive. But there's a lot of story. There's everything that you need to write. I know, Pretty Brown Skin. We're going to have to write this book together, y'all. So, hold on, y'all. So, she's looking at herself in the mirror. And trust me, Lisa tried to avoid John. Lisa tried to avoid John. And girl, she took that walk of shame, honey. That walk of sore shame. Because John had her sore. She could still feel John inside of her. She could still feel John inside of her, and her body was throbbing. Her nipples were still hard. She was just so tired. And she couldn't believe she done did it again. After she had sex with John in the backseat of that car on Monday, she avoided John all week. She didn't give him no eye contact. But John just wouldn't take no for an answer. I don't even feel like getting my dress. Okay. Hold on, y'all. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm back. All right, now listen. Okay. We got. So. So after she cleaned herself up, she walked to her desk and she took a seat. She thought about what just happened, and tears welled up in her eyes. And while she was sitting at her desk, her husband texted her, "Hey baby, I was just thinking about you. I love you so much. Trying to see what you was up to. You came across my mind. I can't wait to see the love of my life when you get home today." And when she read that text from her husband, she just started crying at her desk. She just got off of a man's penis. And then she get a text from her husband saying that he loves her and she's the love of my life. And she just starts crying at her desk. So, oh my. These people so Alvina. Oh my. How do I comment? Okay, so now she crying. She got a text from her husband, and then she looks at the text, and she picks up the phone, and she texts him back, "I love you too." And then she's texting her husband. Her hands are shaking. Her hands are shaking. And she texts him, "I love you too." And she drops the phone and just keeps crying. And she comes together. And she just couldn't continue to work. I mean, it was already like 4 o'clock now, and she was just not herself. She was sad. She was just so unhappy and sad. She started getting her things together at the desk. This is something I left out for the first time. And she was like, "I'm just gonna leave the office, a little early." She gathered her things and started walking toward the door to her car. As she was walking up to her car, she noticed this gray vehicle that was driving. And as she got to her car, the car kind of stopped a little bit. She heard it say, "Eh." She looks up, and then the car just drove by her, and she just looks down. She was like, "Is somebody okay?" She watches the car that drives down by the building and makes a right like it's going behind the building. And she didn't pay any attention. She got in her car and just drove off. Once she got home, her husband was already there. So remember, you guys, I told you about David. David is Lisa's husband. David is an engineer, very smart, a nerd. David is also Caucasian. David is white. If you guys did not know, Lisa is black. And when Lisa gets home that day, of course, David is there. He has some steaks on the grill. He's all excited to see his wife. And when she walks through the door, he's like, "Baby." And she's like, "Yes, honey." He's like, "Honey, I missed you." And he reaches out to hug her, and she just falls into him a little bit. She doesn't put her arms up. "Oh, yeah." And she just lays her hand on his shoulder. He's like, "Everything okay?" She was like, "I'm just tired. A lot of stuff going on at work." He's like, "Talk to me about work." She was like, "Honey, I don't want to talk about it. It's just work. I'm tired. I'm stressed out. And I just want to get into bed." And he was like, "Well, babe, not before I, give you steaks." And she said, "I don't have an appetite." And he was like, "Okay." She was like, "Yeah, I'm just going to go upstairs and get my stuff ready for bed." Again, while she's going upstairs to get ready for bed, David is listening until she went in the room and shut the door. And he picked up the phone and called his mom. So David is an adopted child. He calls his mother, which is a black woman that adopted him when he was very young. And the phone rings and she picks up and she says, "Hello, my son." And he says, "Hello, Mom." And she says, "How are you? What's going on?" He's like, "Mom, nothing." She's like, "Something is wrong. I can hear it in your voice." "Mom, I'm just calling you about Lisa." "Why? What's wrong with Lisa? Is she okay?" "Yeah, she's, well, for the past, few nights, she's been coming home, and I try to reach out to her and talk to her and give her a kiss or so, whatever. And she keeps saying, she's just tired. Job stressing her out. Meetings, job, stress. And whenever I want to listen to her, just try to hear her out, she just says, "I don't want to talk about it. Tonight I cooked steaks, Mom. Steak and potatoes and asparagus. And I told her, babe, I know you're tired, relax, take your shoes off. Let me, give you one of these nice juicy steaks." And she passes right by me and said, "I'm not interested. I want to go and get ready for bed." And the mother said, "So you say she's tired from work is stressing her out?" And yeah. And the mom says, And this has been going on how long, son?" "Mom, this is like the second week now. I just don't get it." And the mom says, "Okay. Well, David, pray for your wife, son." "Yeah, Mom, you just pray for your wife. I'll be praying for her too." "Yeah, Mom, no, I don't know. I just want to talk to her. I'm going to go upstairs in a minute when she's done in the shower." "Oh, she's in the shower now?" "Yeah." As soon as she walks in, she looked at me. I reached out to give her a hug. And then she just walked straight up to the shower. The mom says, okay. And again, she just says, "Pray for your wife, son." He said, "Okay, Ma, I will. And have a good night." So they hang up. After Lisa takes her shower, she gets in the bed. David comes up, her husband. And he takes his shower and get in the bed and lie down next to her. And all what's going through Lisa's head is, "Oh my God, I hope he doesn't touch me. I know I haven't had sex with him in over a week. I just hope he doesn't touch me." Because, Lisa had just had sex with David, work in the mailroom, and she just didn't want her husband to touch her. John's penis was larger, and her husband, his penis is small, and he's not really romantic with his hands like John. He doesn't kiss her the way John does. John shoves it in and sucks her nipples and just drives her crazy, and he's so aggressive and rough. And it's not that she really likes it, but it does feel good in the end. And she gets in the bed and he gets next to her, and sure enough, she just had crazy sex with John at work. And her husband is reaching over. He's like, "Baby." She's like, "Yes, baby, I'm tired from work. I know, honey, but let me just make you feel better." And she's like, "No." He's like, "Baby, yes, I'm not taking no for an answer tonight." And he rolls over on his wife, looks at her face, and started kissing her. And to her, it's weird, it's awkward, it's not romantic. It's like a nerdy kiss. And then he reaches down in his little britches and he pulls out his little penis. And then he takes her little nightgown and pull it up. And he, clothes are still on. And he's kissing her, and she's just there looking at the ceiling, and he puts it in, and he's roughing it, and she's still tender from John. And she's trying not to say, "Oh, babe." And everything is so tender. And she just had sex with another man hours earlier. And now her husband is on top of her, and she just lets him, have his way with her. And, in a couple of minutes, it'll be over. That's what she said. It'll be over in a few minutes, 3 or 4 minutes top. And he's just there again. "Baby, oh, honey, oh." Okay, baby. Honey, baby, this, that, oh. And she's just lying there in the dark, looking at the ceiling, just in the dark. And she feels his hands. It feels weird over her body, like he's not sure of her body. She feels his lip all over hers, and she's not really kissing back. And he's just there, and he's pumping and grunting, and she's just there. And when he's done, about 4 minutes later, baby, oh, and she's just there. And then he rolls over, and just like clockwork, he's asleep in 2 minutes, snoring. And she rolls on over. And tears are rolling out her eyes. And she finally cries herself to sleep. So now it's morning. And usually, you know, she'll get up on Saturday morning and start planning her Saturday with her husband. But this particular day, she has John on her mind. You know, John and her just had sex for the second time in the mirror room, and she said, you know what, I'm gonna just tiptoe out of bed. You know, instead of sleeping in with my husband like I'm supposed to do, I'm gonna tiptoe out of my bed and go down the hall to the next room and try to text or call John. That's what I'm gonna do while my husband is sound asleep. So she gets out of bed and get her cell phone. And she walks down. John is the guy who her husband set her up with, right? Yeah, but a lot of people don't know that yet, Sierra. So I'm recapping the story, Sierra. Yeah. So a lot of people don't know that yet. But I'm recapping. For a few people, Sierra. But yeah, it's okay. It's okay. But yeah. So she gets in the next room. And she texts John, and no response. It's like her number is bouncing back. And then she calls him, and it's like she's getting the voicemail. And she's like, John, hello. And she hangs up. And she texts again and nothing. And she calls the phone again. And she did that for a couple of minutes, like 20, 30 minutes. Then out of the blue, she hears her husband, baby, honey. And she's like, yes, honey, where are you? Why aren't you in the bed with me? She's like, honey, I just got up for a second. Where are you? He's like, so she got down the hall. She took the phone. Where are you? Honey, I just walked out for a second. What are you doing? Nothing. As she walks back to the bed, he notices that she takes her cell phone and put it on her coffee table. And he looks. Why she got a cell phone? But he didn't think nothing of it, I guess. You know, what are we doing? She kept just saying nothing. So she gets back in the bed, and he comes close to her and hug around her, and she hugs him, and they fall asleep. And then again, she wakes up like 30 minutes earlier, and she's like, reaches over to see her cell phone. Still no call for John, no text for John. So now the husband is up and she's up, and the husband is like, babe, what are we doing today? And she's like, honey, honestly, I don't know. It's like, I think I'm going to go run just some few errands and probably pick up some things from the store. And he was like, hey, wait, I'll go with you. She's like, no, I don't want you to go. He's like, but babe, I like going to the grocery store with you. Like, honey, I'm just a little tense. I'm a little stressed. And I'm just going to run a few errands. And I'll be right back. So she drives around. And she's just sitting here thinking about John. So meanwhile, John is home. Of course, John is at home, chilling in his boxers. And there's a lady lying across John's bed. John is sitting in his boxers in his bedroom, laughing and talking to this woman, eating cereal, watching TV, laughing with this lady lying across his bed. And this wife is driving all around town. And then she drives up to where John lives. She drives up to John's driveway. She doesn't blow. She doesn't say anything. And John looks out the window. John sees her, but he doesn't say a word. And he sees her, and he backs away from the curtain and closes it. And she's looking at the house, and something is telling her she should blow or go knock on the door. And she's want to get out the car, and she thinks, no, I better not. And then she tries to call his phone and text him one last time, and still no answer. Then she took herself and drove back home. While she was driving, she looks over at the corner store, the gas station, where she had bathed herself after she had sex with John in the backseat of her car in his parking lot. She drove by that same gas station where she got out and wiped her body clean before she went home to her husband in a gas station bathroom. And she drives on home until she gets there. And once she gets home, she walks through the front door again. Her husband is there waiting. Honey, hey, honey, yeah, this is me. You okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Well, babe, can we talk, honey? No, I don't want to talk. She was just so tired and aggy because she hadn't heard from John. She's going to take it out on her husband and deliberately cause an argument so she doesn't have to sleep with him tonight or sleep in the bed with him. As soon as he reaches out to touch her, she's like, don't touch me, I'm tired. I keep telling you that I'm tired, babe. Let me just get some rest, please. Honey, but now that I'm sick of it, I'm just going to sleep in the next room tonight. You're just not listening to me. You're not listening to my wants and my needs, and I'm just going to sleep in the next room. And she goes into the next room. That's where she showers that night. And she texts and calls John all night long. Even on Sunday. She never came out the room the whole day. She heard her husband moving around the house, in and out the house. She would never come outside and acknowledge him. Instead, she was calling and texting John all day Saturday and all day Sunday, and no word from John. Now it's Monday morning. She's concerned, she's worried. She feels as though she just gave this man her body in the mailroom at the office on Friday. She did things in that office that can make her lose her job. Having sex in the office on company property. She thought about all that. And not only that, where is he? Why isn't he answering my calls? Why isn't he calling me back? I feel so disgusted. And not only that, I had sex with a man the same day that I had sex with my husband, the same night. I feel so cheap. I feel like garbage. All that was running through her head. Once she got home, she got to the office. And she wanted desperately to go to the mailroom, but she can't because the mailroom is locked until someone buzzes you in. And she didn't want to look weird going to the mailroom and someone notices her. So she just sits at her desk. And then out of the blue, that aggressive hand touches her shoulder and rubs down her arm. And she looks, and of course it's John. He grips her shoulder and grips her arm. She's like, John, where have you been? And he takes his finger and put it over her mouth. And he was like, don't ask me anything. It's almost lunchtime. Meet me outside by your car. I'll be out there waiting. But John, where I haven't. Shh. He squeezes her arm with his hand, this right hand, and then he puts his left finger over her lips. Don't question. Just shush. Be quiet. Then she gets up in about 5 minutes and walks out to her car, and right behind her comes John. He gets in the car. And she's like, John, what's going on? And don't question me. What do you mean what's going on? But John, I called you. Don't question me. I have a life too. I have to answer you every time you call me or text me. I have a life. You have a life. You have a husband. You can't question me. You live with a man. You have a husband. You can't question me. She looks at him. She turns her head. And she turns the car on. And after he yells at her, he says, now look at me. And she looked at him. John reaches over, grabs her face and kissed her so hard, it took her breath away. He said, now drive. She's like, where are we going? He said, you're talking too much, now drive. She's driving down the road. Make a right, make a left, make a right, make a left, right over here. What is this? What do you mean where it is? Pull up here behind these trees. Now park your car. They were in the public park that's near John's neighborhood. And she's like, John, like, I don't know what's going on. Like, you're freaking me out. What do you mean? Just shut up. So John starts kissing her so hard. He reaches over to her in the driver's seat and just starts kissing her. Her head starts going back to the window, and he just keeps coming over to her and crawling over her seat and just kissing her so hard. And when he starts kissing her, of course, his hand is on her thigh. He's pulling up her skirt, and he's just about to go hand on all up under her dress. And then there's a tap on the window. There's a on the window. And they both look. It's the park ranger. It's the park ranger, and he tapped on the window and said, hey, what are you guys doing here? It's the park ranger. Get out of here. Scram. Get out of here. You can't be here. What are you guys doing? Get out of here. And she looked up, and he said, damn, we almost got caught, man. This is ridiculous. And she's like, well, John, I mean, you help me out here. I don't care, man. Listen. He looks at her. He said, listen, my dick is hard. My dick is hard. And you need to, my dick is, so what you gonna do about it? We can't go to a hotel. We got to get back to work. Man, where you live? She's like, huh? Where is your house, man? I mean, like, what about, no, where is your house? Dirty shit. And she's like, what, man, how far do you live from here? 17 minutes? Okay, then. Put the pedal to the metal. Take me to your house. But, John, take me to your house. Lisa starts driving to her house. She drives to her house. As she gets closer, she takes out her phone so that she can turn off her little cameras. She turns off her cameras and she drives down the road where she lives with her husband, lifts up the garage door, goes into her house with John, goes into the kitchen, and John says, okay, where the bedroom at? Upstairs. Okay, then let's go upstairs. John picks her up, walks this man's wife upstairs. Where's the bedroom? Right there. Opens up her bedroom door, throws her on the bed, rips off her nice work clothing, flipped her over to the back, and shoved himself right inside of David's wife in David's house in David's bed. Oh my God, he's slapping her butt. He's squeezing it. He's lifting it. He got her legs open. He's pushing her up. He's pulling her hair. He's choking her around her neck. He's pushing her back in. He is blowing her to proportion. John got this girl wide open, spread eagle in her husband's house, in her husband's bed. And he worked her. He worked her good. And when it was all over, he pulled out Elisa and he said, go get yourself dressed so we can get back to work. She took the clothes that John had split and torn and all of that. She took them with her, balled them up, went into her closet, got some fresh, clean clothes, got in, washed herself off really quickly, and got back in the car, drove down the road, turned the security cameras back on, and they went back to work. As they was driving and getting close to work, John looked at her. John said, yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about. But listen, we grown. We two grown mother effers. We don't need to be effing in no car. We don't need to be in no back seat. We don't need to be fucking in your house. You need to give me some money, man. She was like, what? Man, we need an apartment. You need to give me some money. We need an apartment. We need to be somewhere where we can fuck, man, and this and that. I can't be doing this and that. But John, nothing. And also tonight, I want you to come and see me tonight. I want to see you tonight. And she's like, but John, I can't leave my husband, man. Fuck your husband. Where your husband was just now, I was putting all my dick inside of you. Where your husband was when I was fucking you all over the mailroom. Where your husband was when I fuck you in the backseat of your car. Man, fuck your husband. Come and see a nigga tonight, man. And she says, okay, John. And they get back to the job and they work. And of course, it's almost time to leave. Lisa looks up to see if she sees John. John has already left. He slipped out the back door. He's gone for the day. So Lisa goes home again. And this time she has to figure out, like, oh my God, like, how am I going to leave my house? So yes, Barbia, on her way home, she calls her husband, honey, I don't know. I'm leaving work. They're calling an emergency meeting tonight. Finances, fiscal year, reports this, reports that, financial portfolios, this and that, money this, money that, crypto this, Bitcoin this. And I gotta just slip back out and meet some of the players at the office. You know, they're gonna call and see if the meeting is gonna happen, so I may leave the house after whatever. He was like, okay, babe, you on your way home? Like, yeah, I'm almost there. So she gets home and she's like, hey, babe. He's like, you know, you want anything to eat? And she just is feeling weird because she has to sneak back out of her house. She just had a sex with this man again in her house, and now she has to leave her husband to go and meet John. So she goes upstairs, and when she gets upstairs, you know, she gets to her bedroom and she's just sitting on her bed and she's just thinking with her eyes closed. She's thinking with her eyes closed. She's just thinking. And she's thinking, like, I hope he doesn't call. I hope he doesn't text for me to come. I just hope he doesn't. And she's just sitting there, and 5 o'clock hits, and then 6 o'clock, and then 7 o'clock. She gets the call. Ring, ring, ring. Yes, hello? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll shoot right over. Grab the folder, the portfolio. Yeah, okay. All right, bye. And she gets the briefcase, and she gets in her car and she says, babe, I love you, I'll be back. And she gives him a kiss and she gets in her car. While she's driving, David is sitting at home in the kitchen, and he's sitting on the bar stool and just looking. And he's like, let me just give my mom a call. So he's calling his mother. Now remember, David is Caucasian. His mother's black. She adopted him. His mother's a very, very smart, very civil, very crafty woman. She's extremely mindful, and she's a praying woman. She has discernment, and she loves her David. You know, she loves her David. Yeah, David a good man, and she's brought him a long way, you know. And she's had David, you know, since he was a young boy. She remembered David's troubled years. She remembered David's deceit, the lies, and the things that she needed to work on with her son. But she grew him up as best she could, and he put him through college. And now he's a very successful engineer at a lovely engineer firm. And she knows her son like the back of her hand. Thank you, God. So David calls, "Hey, Mom. Hey, son. Hey, how you doing?" "I'm okay." "Where's your wife?" "She's gone to some late night meeting at the job, some meeting. Heavy on the troubled years." She's gone at, "Oh, she has a meeting at the workplace?" "Yeah." "Oh, okay. Why didn't you go with her?" "What, Mom, why should I have to go? It's her company's meeting." "Has she ever had a meeting before?" Usually not this late. Usually meetings are like 5:30 or so, and she gets on back home, by 6:30. But this one started at 7. He's like, okay. Mom says, And then she asks her son, "Have you been praying for your wife?" And he says, "Yes." And then she asks him, "Have you been praying for yourself, son?" And he's like, "Huh? Well, what you mean?" She said, "Well, have you been praying for yourself?" And he said, "Well, Mom, I never really thought about it." You want to just inbox me? So now, like, Mom, I'm just, my relationship has always been grand. My wife is stressed out at work, and, she's not really talking to me, and I just want to make sure everything is all right. So yes, I've been praying for my wife. And then Mom said, "I've been praying for your wife too, son, and I've been praying for you as well." And then he says, Thank you. Just keep praying for us. And pray for my wife that she feels better." And he says, "Okay." So he hangs up the phone, and starts preparing himself for bed. Now, meanwhile, Lisa's texting John, "Hey, I'm on my way." John says, "Pick me up at home." And then she gets a text right back from John 2 minutes later. "Instead, don't pick me up at home. Meet me down by the corner store. There's a gas station corner store." And when he texted that, she knew exactly the corner store he was talking about, because not a week ago, after having sex with John in the backseat of her car, she was right there at that same corner store gas station asking the gas attendant for a key to use the outside bathroom to wipe her body off from having sex with another man other than her husband, with napkins and wall soap, the soap that's on the wall. So she knew that corner store all too well. So when she pulls up at the corner store, she sees John standing. John had walked from his home to the store because John didn't have a car, remember? As she pulls up and sees John, she can see that he's tense and that he seems like he's a little agitated. So she's already bracing herself for whatever. He opens the door and sits down. He looks up at her and says, "Man, what took you so long?" And she's like, "Huh? What took you so damn long?" And she's like, "Well, John, I came as soon as you took." "No, man, what took you so long? I've been standing out here for." "But John, I came." She was like, "Man, whatever." John had on blue sweats. Okay, blue sweatpants. Okay. Blue sweatshirt, sitting. Out of the blue, John was looking at her. He took his right hand, pulled his sweatpants down, and pulled his penis out. And it was just standing in attention, standing up tall. Then he took Lisa's head and pulled it down on his lap, right in her mouth, penis right in her mouth, and started pulling her hair back and forth down on his penis. And she's like, "Oh," and she's can't breathe, and she's shocked, and she's trying to pull her head back, and he's pulling her head down, and she's pulling her head back, and he's pushing her head down, and it was just so intense. Oh, hell yeah. And she's just feeling so out of place. She's feeling odd. She's like, why her? And she's down there, and he kept her down there. He kept her head down there. He kept her head down there. And then he pulled her up, and he looked at her. And then he said, man, you ain't got no napkins in here? Wipe your face off. And she was looking for napkins. And then she was wiping her face. He said, man, get out and get in the back seat. And he got her out, put her in the back seat, pulled her skirt like always. And he put his head between her legs now. And he just went to town all up inside Lisa. Opening up lips, poking his finger in this hole, poking his finger in that hole, tongue, mouth, lips, suck, breathe, spit, legs open up, all of that. Went all up under her shirt, and she was already tender from when they had sex earlier in her husband's bed, remember? And he's all in her breast, sucking her neck, kissing her, looking all in her face again. And then out of the blue, right inside of her again, he rams that penis right inside Lisa again. And he's inside this man's wife's body. He's, oh my gosh, he's moaning and groaning. I would have to lure John down the river and peel his muffin cap back. Oh my God. Oh my God. Say now, oh my God. And he's just having his way with her. And by the time he was finished, he looked at her face and she was just dazed and out of it because he kissed her. He put his tongue all down her throat. He sucked her neck. He was sucking her nipples. He put his mouth all over her body, and he was just ramming his penis inside out. And he looked at her in the eyes and said, don't you forget tomorrow. Bring the money for the apartment. Do you hear me? And she says, yes, I hear you. Now, just a week and a half earlier, she had had sex with John in the backseat of her car in front of John's house. She left the house and went to this gas station and had to bathe her body with the brown paper napkins and the soap that's on the wall. Now she's back at the same gas station. This time when she gets out, she has a little pack, a little doggy, like a little purse, and it has wipes and little soaps, you know, like feminine products in it. She goes and get the key from the attendant, and she held her head down. And he says, hey, how you doing? And he said, I'm okay. Okay. The attendant remembered her from last week. And she walks around to the back, to this bathroom, this foreign bathroom. And she takes out her wipes and her feminine wash and her feminine napkins, and she starts cleansing herself again. And she's looking in the mirror and she's just cleansing her body. Think about the fact that she just lied to her husband to get out the house to come and see this man, just to have sex in her car. And she freshens herself up and she gets back in her car. John says, I'll see you tomorrow at work. And she says, okay. He starts walking home and she drives off. And she's headed home to her husband. Once she gets home, again, honey, well, how was the meeting? Honey, the meeting was okay. I just want to talk to you, babe. Back up and give me some space. Honey, will you give me a break? Will you give me a freaking break? She says to her husband, David. Just give me a freaking break and give me some space. Damn. And she walks up. And she goes back into that second room and slams the door shut. And she sits on her bed and she's just staring at the wall. And David is downstairs just in awe. He doesn't even know what just happened. And he feels like he's losing his wife. So, they go to sleep. They wake up. They both are getting dressed for work. As she's in her room getting dressed, he's in his room getting dressed. He goes down to get his coffee. He's walking out. She comes down to get her tea. As she gets in the car, she get a text from her husband, I love you. This time she looks down at the phone and she doesn't even respond back. She just drives to work. Once she gets to work, she's sitting at her desk, of course. And as soon as she sat down, she wasn't sitting there for 5 minutes. That aggressive touch right on her shoulder, the same touch. And she looked, it's John. Yes, you startled me. So did you bring the cash? What cash? The cash that I told you to bring so that we can get an apartment so that we can fuck. I'm tired of having sex with you in the car, at the job, in your husband's house. We need our own place. She's like, John, I didn't bring the money, but we can make a trip to the bank today. He said, good. I'll make sure this transaction happens. No, this is recap. This is recap, King. This is recap from the last week. I haven't brought the news story yet. This is just recap. I'm catching everybody up. So this is just recap. This is stuff y'all done already heard, Kingdom. This is recap, okay? So he said at lunchtime, I'll be ready. She said, okay. Toxic Yick be the best. Yeah, you ain't getting my coins. You can go on and tell. Okay, go on tell on me. Long Toxic Yick. He tall and he fine. Hey now. Tall, fine, handsome with a long penis, baby. Smooth talker, baby. Ooh, John fine. And ain't got nothing. But I'm glad I'm here because, baby, I was lost, but I'm living, period. Come on now, Average. Yes. Listen, life. Pray for all of us. We go through some things, baby. But we wake up. So now, after the panel yesterday, hearing you talk to those women, I'm Team Imp. You gained a fan. Yay! Big Golden Jess, thank you. You had me at hair pulling, long yick and choking. Come on, hey now. All of that. John had, John. Lisa. John fired her husband. Hold on, y'all. Let's see. I'm going to tell y'all a lot. Remember, thank you, Big Golden Jess, period. Now, see, a lot of y'all just hearing the story. So y'all are lucky because y'all get to get all the story up until where we are. See, all the old people in here, they still waiting on the new part, the ending. So instead of me ending the story tonight, I'm recapping for a few of you ladies that have never heard the story. So there go John in the comments, y'all. I'm here what I missed. There go John, y'all. If y'all want a piece of John, there he go. He got a heart. There go John in the comments, okay? If y'all want a piece of John. So anyway. So that's why I'm sitting here like, ooh, John, we didn't miss it. Nope, y'all ain't missed nothing. This is just a recap for the last week and a half. So y'all ain't missed nothing. We are not into the story yet. Okay, so now, John said, I'll be ready at lunchtime. Lisa said, okay. So, Lisa's sitting in her desk. Husband stopped payments on that car. Because you know the husband paid for her Jaguar. So a lot of y'all that don't know David. David is an engineer, successful. He's white. He's a nerd. He was adopted by a black mother. And John is a in and out, job to job, smooth talker, handsome. No car, live at his mom's house. Lisa, a classy girl, ain't used to nothing. All she knew is all she knew is David. From high school to college to marriage, all she knew is her husband. She never knew her husband Wanker was little until John pulled on his penis that day in the break room. And she saw how big it was. And she started thinking about John. And now when her husband touches her, it ain't even the same. John been all up and through this lady. All in her whole hands, been in all the titties, nipples be tender every day, kissing her hard in her mouth, sticking his tongue down her throat. Lisa is, whew, baby. He done had sex with her in this car, this gas station, in her husband's bedroom, in the mirror room. It's been interesting. So now John said, we need to make sure this transaction happened. I'm going to the bank with you at 12 o'clock. So now 12 o'clock hit. Lisa gets up. She's looking for John. She walks out to her car. Guess who already at the car waiting by her car? John. John already had this lady car waiting on her to take him to the bank. So when John gets in the car, they're driving. And he looks at her. And she looks at him. And he said, man? What? You don't want to do this or something? And she's like, John, yeah, you don't want to do it or what? I mean, unless you want me to just keep fucking you in the car. Unless you want me to just keep fucking you in your husband's house and your bed. Like you act like you don't want to do it. Look couple of dollars. Like, look, $1,500. You got it. You know you got it. Lisa like, John, calm down, please. So as Lisa pulled up to the bank, she was going to park in the parking lot. But instead, she said, you know what, I'm going to park, but instead let me drive in the drive-thru. As she started driving around the drive-thru, she noticed this gray vehicle that looked kind of familiar. Something shiny. She looked and she was like, what is that? Nah. She thought she saw this gray vehicle before. So she drives around and she goes to the teller window and she asks for the $1,500 that John requested. So she gets the money and she looks over at John as they drive off. She says, John, so tell me really, what are you about to do with this money? Can I see some proof? He like, man, you done brought me all the way to the bank and got the money out. Now you asking for the proof? Man, what's wrong with you? So she's like, she's like, yeah, let me see. Like, where's this money going? Are you going to really get the apartment? He pulls out his phone and shows her the lease and the information and the comments. I mean, the emails back and forth with this leasing company and all that. Look, man, you think I'm lying to you? Look, I'm on the lease and you think I'm playing you? I'm going to put you on the lease too. How about that? So she's like, oh, yeah? Yeah. So what? Chill, man. I got this. Give me the money. Lisa goes into her purse and pulls out the envelope, $1,500, and hands it over to John. So now they get back to the office and all is quiet. So she works and works. All right, so now, before they got back to the office, I'm sorry, they're driving. Her phone rings. She looks. He's like, man, who is that? This is my mother-in-law. Answer it. She's like, I don't know why the fuck she's calling me. Answers the phone. Hello, Mrs. Stevens. Oh, you're addressing me as Mrs. Stevens? Yes. How may I help you? Well, I'm calling you because I'm just worried. You know, your husband called me, David called me, and he just said he was worried about you. You seem to be tired, overworked, and there's a lot of things going on at the office. And she's like, he did what? And yeah, and I'm just calling. No, you don't have to call and check up on me. David and I are grown. This is our business. He's my husband. Why would he call you and put you in our business? And she says, because I'm his mother. Not quite. You're his foster mother. Yeah, but I raised him. Well, I'm raising him now. He's my husband. Stay out of our business. And she hangs up the phone. And she's boiling. So they're on their way back to work now. And John looks at Lisa. And John says, man, you talk. And she said, not fucking now, John. Well, Shanta, we shall see. They get back to the office. She gets John out. She's pissed. John goes into the mirror room and she goes at her desk. She gets to the house in the evening. She couldn't wait to get home because she's going to give this damn husband a piece of her fucking mind. As soon as she drives up to the driveway, she walks in the house. Her husband says, honey. She says, don't fucking honey me. He's like, what are you, Lisa, foul language? Don't fucking honey me. Why would you call your mother, put your mother in our business like this? What do you mean? Your freaking mom called me. He's like, yeah, I just called her because we're fucking grown. I told you I'm tired. I told you I'm overworked. And I told you just to give me some space. And he looks at his wife and he says, you want some fucking space? She says, yes, give me some fucking space. He said, okay, I'm going to give you all the fucking space you need. I'm leaving for a couple of days. I can't stay here with you. You come in the damn house. I try to talk to you. I don't have anybody else to lean on. I talk to my mom because she's the only person that I can talk to. My wife is losing her mind. You're stressed out every day. You won't communicate with me. And now you're giving me this. I'm fucking leaving for a couple of days. Let you get your space. And she looks. He said, yes, I said it. She said, but David. He says, don't fucking David me. And he jakes away from her. And he goes upstairs, packing some stuff, and he gets in the car and he's driving. While he's driving, he calls his mom. She answers, Mom, and she says, yes. So you called Lisa? Yes, I did. So, like, I called her because I'm worried about you two. And she's like, but Mom, I didn't tell you to mention it. Well, I did. Where are you right now, Mom? I left the house. I left the house. Why? We got into a big argument. She keeps talking about she needs her space. So I'm giving her fucking space for a few days. The mother says, David, how dare you? Hey, Arthur. He said, yeah, I'm giving her space for a couple of days. Where are you headed, son? I'm headed to the Four Seasons. I'll call you when I get there and I'm all settled. So the mom says, okay, call me when you're all settled. David drives to the Four Seasons Hotel. He gets in, he goes to the clerk. He's checking in. The clerk says, here you go, Mr. Stevens. Room 410. And he says, thank you. He goes up to his room. Opens up the door, he goes in the room, he lays across the bed and he's looking at the ceiling. Hey, Arthur. And he's looking at the ceiling. And he starts breathing. And he lets out a sigh. And he breathes and he's just thinking and he lets out another sigh. And out of the blue, he gets a phone call. The phone rings. Hello? Yes. I'm okay. I'm at the Four Seasons. What do you mean, what room? I'm in room 410. Okay. I love you too. Yeah. And while he's still on the phone, he gets another call. He looks, this time it's his mom. And he's like, hello, Mom. Are you okay, son? Yes. Have you made it safe? Yes, I'm here. I'm at the Four Seasons, Mom. I'm here. I'm safe. I'm lying in the bed now. And he says, but Mom, I'm on another call. And she says, who, with Lisa? He's like, man, what? And he said, who, with Lisa? He's like, Mom, I'll call you back. So he beeps back over to the other end. And he's like, I'm okay. Yeah, 410. I'm safe. I'm lying in the bed now, just relaxing. Alrighty. Bye. He hangs up the phone. About 20 minutes pass by. And then you get a knock on his hotel room door. He gets up and opens his door. And he looks at his visitor. And he smiles. And his visitor looks at him. And she smiles. And then she jumps into his arms. And he spins her around. And she says, baby. He says, yes, baby. She said, baby, oh my freaking God, how did you do it? He says, do what? How the fuck did you get here and left that miserable ass wife of yours home? How did you do it? He said, babe, I did it. And guess what? You have me all to yourself for the next 5 days. And she says, oh my God, babe, I'm so happy. And they fall on the bed together. David has a mistress. David has a beautiful mistress. Tall, beautiful brown-skinned girl. Beautiful hair, beautiful smile that can compete with the sun. Her name is Melinda. So David works at an engineering firm. David is crafty, top of his class, a nerd, and everyone knows David is white with a black foster mom. And that's where his taste for black women come from. He grew up in a black neighborhood. David sits at the top of the food chain in his office. He has it going on. That's why he's able to take care of his wife, Lisa, the whole beautiful house. The Jaguars and the cars and the jewelry and the expensive perfumes and the trips and the luxury items that she had. He takes care of everything because he's David Stevens. He can do that. One day while at work, about 5 months ago, David needed some reports for this new prototype that the engineering firm was working on. And he called one of his secretaries to come in to deliver the report to him on his desk so that he can basically get down to business, look at everything and make sure everything is going to be tip-top shape for when they start building, because they needed to present this prototype to NASA in 3 months. NASA, David, ring, ring, ring. One of the secretary picks up. Okay, Miss Columbia. And in walks this beautiful brown chocolate girl. Her name is Melinda. When Melinda walks in, Melinda's dressed, neat, nice, and she smells so amazing, just like philosophy. The same perfume that his mother wore, the same perfume that he buys for his wife, Lisa. Love you, author. Okay. Anyway, Melinda comes in. David, being the gentleman that he is, first off, he said, good morning, Melinda. Do you have the reports? Melinda says, yes, I do. And he says, well, thank you. May I have them, please? As she walks over to the desk, she walks right past the air vent, and the air vent pushed out a gush of her scent of attraction, the perfume that he knows so well. And he looks up and he says, Melinda, You smell marvelous. I know this perfume. My mom wears it. And not only that, I buy it for my wife every chance I get. It's philosophy, right? And Melinda says, yes, it is. So she says, a man with good taste. And then she walks over to David's desk and she walks over and bends down really close to his face. And she says in his ear, would you like a closer sniff? And when she says that, she brushes her chin right across his face and he pushes her back. He says, hey. He was like, no, thank you. I smelled you when you came in. He said, thank you, Melinda. Thank you for the reports. And that will be all. And she looks at him and turns around. And she said, are you sure? And he looks at her. And he says, yes, I'm sure. And she said, okay, I'm just making sure you're sure. And he said, thank you. And then she walks off right in front of the same vent. And when she passes that vent, the gush of this beautiful perfume blows right into David's nose again. And she looks back at him and walks out of the office. David's heart is racing right now. His palms are sweating. His little penis is on hard. A lot is going on through David's mind. And all he can think about is, oh my God, like what just happened? What just happened? Leaving her scent all behind in that man's office, Columbia. And he mesmerized. He's dizzy because it took him by surprise. He's breathing. He's trying to calm himself down. Remember, David is just an old nerd. Ain't nothing like this ever happened to David. David met his wife Lisa in high school. That was his first love. And they went on to get married in college. And they've been together ever since. So, he's almost scared. He's just old nerd, like an anxiety attack. He's breathing but while he's breathing and trying to calm down, he can't forget the fact that this lady put her neck and lips so close to his. And she smells sweet. And the fact that she was breathing and asked him, did he want a closer look? David realized he could get hard again. He was hard. He was on fire, Columbia. And he just couldn't believe what was going on. And that night, after he got home from work, all he could think about was what Melinda did to him. And when he got home and saw his wife, as soon as they got into bed, David got on top of his wife that night. And, baby, oh, baby, so good. And while he was on top of his wife, just breathing and grunting and rubbing and scrubbing that little penis, he was thinking about Melinda. And yeah, oh, baby, oh yeah, ooh, okay. And he rolled on over in 2 minutes, just like clockwork. He was asleep. He did that to his wife. Thank you, Cricket Halo. Melinda was like, honey, what happened? Okay. So now, David back at work with Melinda. And the next day, he still couldn't get his mind off Melinda. And all David was thinking, like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm so nervous. Like, this young girl came on to me yesterday. I'm going to be cool. I'm going to get in the office. I'm just going to be cool. I'm just going to be calm. And maybe I can call Cindy to bring me the reports. Yeah, I'll call Cindy. Keep Melinda out my office. I'll just call Cindy. And yeah, and just avoid that at all costs and be done. So David gets into the office. He goes right into his little VIP door. He's sitting at his desk. And of course, they're working on that prototype. And there were some changes and updates that he needed to do to the report. So he pushed it back out into his group pool where he sends it out to all of his secretaries. David has 3 secretaries, okay? and he wanted to hope Miss Cindy, gets the report and start working on it. But once he went into the pool to say, Miss Cindy, make sure you start working on the report, Miss Cindy emails him back and said, oh, no, no, no. Melinda's already working on it. I'm working on this second prototype. And David didn't want to say, no, no, Miss Cindy, you work on it. He just left it alone. Melinda had already grabbed the report out the pool. She was already updating the changes. She was pushing out this and that and making this report beautiful, because Melinda was going to hand deliver that report to David today. David is in his office. He made a few phone calls. He texted his wife, I love you forever. You're the love of my life. She texts him back, I love you too, honey. He's still working, moving around, just working, normal day. Not without even making a call. In comes Melinda. He didn't even call her. He didn't even summons her. In comes Melinda. She walks across the vent. Her center of attraction catches his nose, and she glides over by his office. And she says, boss, I just wanted to be proactive and update these reports for you in a timely manner, because I know there's a deadline, and I just wanted to basically make sure you got these. And she bends over to him, and when she bends over, her shirt was cut a little low, and he looked down right at her cleavage, and he can see all the way down that shirt, all the way down to her belly button. She didn't even have on a bra. And when she bent down, she looked up, and she saw his eyes right down in her shirt looking. And she looked at him and she said, you want a taste? And David looked up her, and David said, yeah. And she looked at him, and she walked over to David and put her breasts all in his face, all her cleavage. And David pulled her shirt down and put that woman's breast in his mouth, right in his office, right at work. Breasts, both of them in his mouth, playing ball, juggling, shaking. He was sucking Melinda's breasts in the office. She opened her legs and straddled him and sat in his lap. And he was just sucking her breasts, sucking her nipples, all up under her neck, kissing, sucking, hugging. He grabbed her mouth, and she looked at him. And then she pushed her mouth against him, and she was kissing David, and David's glasses was all over the place, and he took his glasses off, and she was just so aggressive, and she was pushing her lips and tongue all in his mouth, and she was pushing him and touching him, and he was holding her breast, and he said, get up, we're in the office. And she stood up, and he said, meet me at 12. We're going to leave for lunch. 12 o'clock hits. Melinda and David is driving to the Four Seasons Hotel, room 410. That's the room they checked into. He was now having an affair with his wife, with the secretary from the office, Melinda, at the Four Seasons, room 410, just about every other day. Yes, Miss Columbia, David was driving a Porsche. Thank you. David was driving a white Porsche, baby. A McLaren. I like McLarens. And while he was driving to the Four Seasons,